Play Brittany's video uh, because we're talking to not just the elders, all the stakeholders. No responsible adult should be at home and things are getting bad. And you say, Obasarum, I don't know. And they ask you something, you say you don't know.
He's
How about
supposed to be in charge.
yes, they're supposed to be in charge. No, it's not okay. So we'll play that for you and then we'll go into our slides. Please help us to share, continue to like, continue to subscribe, because that's the only way our people will get the information that they need to get.
That can tell the younger generation what happened in the past that has repeated more than once, that's about to happen again if we proceed in the direction of election under a disputed constitution. Are there no persons that are at least 75 years old who will be adults of 15 years, deep into secondary school, as at the May 29th of 1962, when the Constitution of the Western region was unilaterally suspended unconstitutionally by the government of the time, leading to a chain of events. Sole administrator appointed, Dr. Majeko Domi for Western region. At a time, Awolowo was being dragged to prison for winning the independence election. And in that suspension of the Constitution of Western region, the three constitutions by which Nigeria federated at independence in 1960 got into a spin. The union collapsed. Nigeria was stillborn on account of that stretch of incidents. And elections then came in 1963 to meet that unsettled constitutional situation. And the politicians went on refusing to solve the constitutional dispute. And we landed in all the things 64, 65, Wild West to January of 66. And we fell into the ditch that became the Civil War. It cost 3.5 million lives to bring things back to some stability in 1970. We carried on. Then came 93. Instead of settling the constitutional dispute, the constitution by which we could go back to being a federation, we went on to election. Abiola the good man, Abiola the competent man. Everybody voted from everywhere, including at the base of his opponent, Tofa. He won the election by landslide. What was it that swallowed Abiola's man? A very good-hearted man. He even won the election. What was it that was bigger than the people of Nigeria that swallowed that mandate? Have we recovered from the consequences of that, because we ended up in 1999 with a bogus democracy that has now brought the Fulani, who imposed the situation on everybody, into power, and the invasion we see now. So again, we're heading to exactly the same cycle of events. 2023 election is being advertised when the constitution is on fire.
Oh.
If we recovered from the one of 1963, and we recover from the one of 1993, at great blood cost, Abiola's life had to be thrown in. All the people killed between that time and now, still part of the blood cost, and the infrastructure that had gotten decayed and the economy that has collapsed and the poverty that has become exemplary. 30-year cycles, 63, 93, and we're talking about 2023. And so the reason we're making this broadcast, we want to address the young people who are investing their hope in vote under an untenable constitutional arrangement, hoping that a good man, a competent man, will become president and all the problems will go away. Misdiagnosis that will lead to catastrophe for the patient. And here there are two patients. Nigeria that died before and the Nigerians that are dying now. Nigeria died long time ago. Nigeria, the federation. The people dying now are the Nigerians who are trapped in the carcass of that Nigeria. I think in order to get it in perspective, so that we can see, we have a window into the thinking of the young people who are operating in this misdiagnosis. There's a video, an interview of Mr. Delogun in the UK, in which a young person was telling him what went wrong with Nigeria. I would think that that young man in that interview, represents the thoughts of the current young people who are pursuing after PVC with all their might, having cited a good man, a competent man, Pitobi. I think we should look at that video so that we can come back to what we need to know in order to avoid the catastrophe that is racing towards us.
Julius Caesar has a line which says, "There is a tide in the events of men, which, if taken at the flood, leads on to fortune." And I remembered that when I saw the title of the book, The Missed Road to the Promised Land, i.e., there was a way to get to the promised land. Like, some kind of promised land exists somewhere. Obviously, it's been missed. And I think it's pretty clear reading the book that when you take the right decision at the right time, it can push you in the right direction. If you need to get a train somewhere that comes once an hour, if you miss that train, you're going to be at least an hour late, and longer if you have to get other connections and so on and so forth. So is there a single point that you can point to as the point that Nigerians themselves more so missed that road? For me, it's 1993. And how now can we get to the promised land?
For me, it's 1993 to 1999.
Okay.
And if I had to pinpoint it, it would be the 1999 so-called elections.
Obasanjo.
Yeah. Why? Because we had them on the back foot at that point. And the position that had been taken by the Movement for National Reformation that was led by Chief Anthony Anaho and the pro-NACO groups, pro-National Conference, that's what it stood for. The position that they had taken was that we're not going to participate in any elections until we see the Constitution.
Right.
That was the line that everybody has been asked to hold. But again, because they're always flawed characters, if the principled ones take a stand, they're always flawed characters that are available that you can then approach, that the establishment can approach, to say, never mind those ones, you come with us. And those flawed characters, they broke the ranks. They agreed to participate in that 1999 election without seeing the Constitution.
That's it. That's a big one.
because they needed democracy needs legitimization by the people coming out and participating. The ultimate power that the people have is say, we're not coming. We're not going to participate. And at that point, they could have. We had the opportunity of securing a new constitutional settlement along the lines of the Orange Union. But we missed that opportunity. It was traded in. And the ultimate beneficiaries were the Obasanjos who got the appearance of power because they were now enjoying themselves as president and all the other hangers-on. But that was a key mystery. And we're back there again now because the 1999 Constitution is now widely acknowledged as a fraud.
Right. It is.
It contains the declaration, we the people give ourselves this constitution. But it's a bit like those treaties of protection that we started with, drafted by one side and just imposed. Nobody knows who drafted the 1999 Constitution.
We know.
So it was a diktat. It has now crashed once more. And we're now at that point of a fresh start. So we're back to the crossroads once more. And it then becomes an issue of, are we going to go for the shortcut, the cheap solution? Or are we going to stand our ground and say, this needs to be dealt with once and for all?
Okay.
Yes, what we need to note in this 4 minutes clip I just played is that the question was, where did Nigeria miss its way? Now that we're searching for how to get back on the way to El Dorado, on the way to paradise, great Nigeria. The young man, I don't know his name, but he was so certain, he knew that it was in failing to allow Abiola, the good man, the competent man, who was embraced by the whole country, to emerge as president in 1993. He was very sure that that was where Nigeria lost its way. But his guest, Delogun, knew much better. And he said, no, that it wasn't in 93 that we fell into this ditch, that we got into this highway to calamity. That it was in 99, of course, 99 came as the culmination of the series of events that 93 ignited. So in 99, we ended up going to election. Let's mark this because we're about to repeat. We're about to fall into that one ditch the second time. In 99, according to Delogun, you just heard him, and he's in a position to know because he was involved.
He's a lawyer too.
Nadeko, Enohoro, and all those who went to contest the election in 1999 from the fold of Nadeko, including Tinubu. Delogun says that it was because, if we were to pinpoint in all that period between 93 and 99, that it was in 99 that we went into election without settling the constitutional arrangement by which that democracy would be operated. That was how we got on the pathway to the disaster we are in now. And so, to interpret it further, many of us have heard from us, even the young man in the video did say that, yes, the Constitution is the problem. If the Constitution is the problem, and we have had similar problems in the past where we went into election without addressing that constitutional, impairment, some kind of something that is broken, a broken down constitutional arrangement. That was what happened to us in the electoral cycle of 63, 64, that became Wild Wild West. If the politicians of the time had listened to some of the voices of reason to first restore the constitutional arrangements before proceeding to another election, we wouldn't have had 1966, January 15.
Awesome. So this video, once again, is on the Nina's website. It's also on YouTube on the Nina's channel. Please go there and begin to educate yourself. We cannot not thank our brother for the massive work that he's doing on behalf of ignorant people that are speaking English, walking all over the place, thinking they have degrees, they live in a big house, they know what is going on. And we find ourselves in the same ditch because